Reading, keyword selection. I'm having problems, Professor. Let's hack it, kids. First things first, let's go ahead and do a quick review. Then I'm going to do a demo, and then after the demo, we're going to have you do some practice problems based upon what we just learned. First things first, what words should I pick when I finger scan? Let's talk about that. Keyword selection. So keyword selection, kids, we're dealing with mystery questions. In a mystery question, in the question, here it is, problem number 11. Here is our question stem. And then we have our answer choices below, A, B, C, and D. All right? In the question stem, there is a word that we need to find. We'll go ahead and circle it. And then basically what we need to do is we need to go into the passage and we need to finger scan. Some other techniques that you could use instead of finger scanning. Finger scanning is taking your fingers and going left to right to left, forward, backwards, and saying the word to yourself. If I'm looking for the word rusty nail, I just go rusty, 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 left, right, left, forward, backwards, rusty, 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 rusty. There it is. And then circle it once I found that key word. Then from there, you just simply read this sentence and then Scooby-Doo reword it into the answer choices. Some other techniques that you could use besides finger scanning is Jimmy Bear Claw. Just take your fingers, right? Here's your fingers, just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers. And let's say this is your hand. And you just basically just take your fingers and just drag your fingers in a vertical motion going from top to bottom, and saying the word to yourself as you're looking for Jimmy Bear Claw. The third technique that you could use is something called the Genius Snapshot. That means if you have a word that's capitalized or numbers, you just simply just look in here really fast, scan your eyes, and look for those words. Go ahead and circle it. Capitalized words and numbers pop off the page. So for right now, we just need to somehow find our key word. Whether we bear claw, whether we finger scan, or we snapshot, we have to find the key word. Now, before we find the key word, kids, we have to pick the right key word. Now, I'm hearing kids telling me, hey, I can't find the right area because I'm having problems figuring out what the key word is. So what do I do? That's what this video is all about. All right. So for me personally, I like nouns. All right. I always come over here. Let's just do a working demo here. We have practice problem number 11 again. And practice problem number 11 is 3 lines of text. Okay. For me, I like nouns. Step number 1 for me, what I do is I come into the question. Here's the answers, by the way. A, B, C, D. In the question stem is what I call it up here. I simply go in and I circle all the potential nouns that the question is asking me about. Okay? Then what I do is based upon my Genius map, I think about the one most specific noun based upon almost kind of like thinking of a funnel, all right? So let's do a working demo here. Here's a funnel, broad at the top, and it's narrow at the bottom. Say that our passage up here talks about sports, and it looks something like this. Sports, winter sports, skiing, Nordic skiing, alpine skiing, and then it says wax, all right? So if here in the question it says winter sports, skiing, wax, if I were to take all 3 of these keywords, all 3 of these things are nouns. If I were to take all those nouns, throw them into this funnel, you would see that the most specific noun that only appears in one area of the essay would be the word wax. That's over here. Because if you picked sports, it might say sports, winter sports, alpine skiing is winter sports, sports. Sports is going to be all over the place, so that's too broad. That's going to be at the top of the funnel. Remember, you want to try and get to the one area where the answer is going to be, all right? If you said skiing here, well, skiing is over here, Nordic, and skiing is over here in alpine, so that's still not specific enough. We would want to get to the area that talks about wax, all right? Specific nouns, think of a funnel. go ahead and basically just circle all your nouns and then think about which one is the most specific based off of your Genius map. The next thing that we should think about here is using something called the answer plug. All right, answer plugs are used for questions that ask you all of the following except or not problems. All right, my assistant Zach calls these questions radioactive. And the reason he calls them radioactive is because answer choices that we have down over here, F, G, H, and J, all contain nouns. And what we're really going to have to do for answer plugging is circle the nouns in each one of the answer choices and then go back into the passage and try and find them. You're getting 1 point to answer 4 questions. You see why we call them radioactive. In the question stem up top, it might say, all of the following are mentioned about skiing except, okay? So then we would circle the word skiing and know that from our passage that we saw earlier over here, we would be in alpine skiing over here and Nordic skiing over here as well. And then we would go over here and then we would find this word in this area, find this word in this area, and just kind of do it that way. So answer plugging, look for the noun in the answer choice. And from the noun in the answer choice, basically what you have to do is you have to find it inside the passage. That's why we call it mystery. It's simply just hidden in there. What we're going to do next is we're going to do a working example. I'm going to go ahead and show you a passage, passage number 2. We'll find the mystery questions. We'll underline the keywords. I'll show you based off of my Genius map, the funnel, and you'll see kind of me in action to answer a few questions. So then what we'll do is we'll have you go ahead and do it on your own. There'll be some practice problems that you can go ahead and do, and I'll give you the answers and explanations afterwards. For right now, let's go ahead and take a look at a working example. Kids, here we have our working example. It's passage number 2. The questions that we're going to just quickly demonstrate is problem 12, 14, 16, and problem 18. These are all mystery questions. So keyword selection, let's go ahead and start with practice problem number 12. Practice problem number 12 right here says, it can be logically inferred from all the following characteristics of the Society of Iceland except. First thing I do is I go ahead and I circle the word except. I know the word I'm looking for. I like nouns to start with, okay? It's pretty straightforward what noun we're looking for. We're looking for the noun, because it's pretty much the only one in here, is Iceland. Also society, but I feel like Iceland is going to be easier because it is capitalized. All right? Basically what we're going to do then is we're going to go ahead and use what I call the answer plug along with the capitalized letters. All right? So the first thing that you should be doing is looking for all of the areas that talk about Iceland. All right? So here's our passage, and I basically just come up here and quickly scan looking for capitalized words. Here's Iceland up here. We go down over here. We just keep looking, keep looking, keep looking, keep looking. We keep looking. Iceland is up here. Iceland is up here. See how it pops off the page as you kind of come through here? That's the first thing that I would do, okay? The second thing that I would do is use what we mentioned earlier called the answer plug, all right? Now, problem number 12, we'll start with answer choice F. Now remember, I love nouns. I always start with a noun. However, not always is the noun going to be the key word that we're looking for. However, for me, I personally start with the noun. In answer choice F, here's what I do. It says the majority of the population live near cities. Boom. Cities, that's the noun. So I know that I'm looking for Iceland, and also close by there, I'm looking for the word city. Okay, answer choice G, it says reading and writing. I circle both of them. Answer choice H, museums. That's the noun. Noun, noun, noun. Over here, it says government. See, kids, I'm looking for these nouns. Then, think of it this way. It's one question. You're asked 4 questions, but you really only get 1 point. Now, we're looking for Iceland, And then surrounding those words are going to be cities, reading, museums, and government. All right, so what do? We come back up here, and my assistant Zach would call this problem radioactive. So think of looking for Iceland and those keywords. We come over here. Okay, there's Iceland. Does it say anything about a museum up here? Does it say anything about government? No. Okay, keep going over here. Iceland again. Over here, blah, 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 blah. Oh, city. There's one of our words. Did you see that? I circle city. Boom. All right, then I go back down to my answer choice. That is in there. So I simply cross it off because we're looking for the word, the one that's not in there, that's the exception. So here it says cities, we cross that one out. All right, so we're looking for reading, we're looking for museums, and we're looking for governments. Then you basically come over here and you continue doing the same thing. You see why Zach calls these radioactive? Because you get 1 point for answering 4 questions. My recommendation is if you see a radioactive problem, what you'd want to do is you would want to save this to the very end. Here it is, Iceland. Again, people live elsewhere, population, prisoners, blah, 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 property, all political party. See it? So I see over here it says political party. I would circle that. And then now I know that's in there. All right, so we go down over here, we cross that one out. So it says political party is a Scooby-Doo for government. That one is out. Along with cities, that's out. Now I know, I quickly review, I'm looking for reading and writing, or I'm looking for museums. We come back over here, we continue down over here, look, museums, reading and writing. They're speaking. What about reading and writing? We go back up to the next column. And we look up here. Reading and writing. No. Tales. Mention. See why Zach calls these radioactive? Lots of time. Come over here. Reading, writing. Ah, museum. There it is right there. Boom, you circle it. Radioactive, kids. That's in there. We're looking for the one that's except. Once again, my recommendation, save these till the very end. The correct answer here is going to be G, reading and writing. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next example. The next example we'll do practice problem number 14. So keyword selection, kids. As stated in the passage, a characteristic of one of Iceland's 13th century sagas. All right. So what I do, I come over here, I label this as a mystery question right away. Then I'm looking for nouns. Okay, passage, that's a noun, but that word would never be in there. Characteristic, that's never going to be in there. All right, so we have Iceland, we have 13th century, and we have sagas. Think of a funnel. If we were to take all 3 of these words, 13th century sagas and Iceland, throw them into the funnel, we're looking for the one word that's the most specific that would fall to the bottom. Well, the whole passage is about Iceland, so Iceland would be here at the top. Then 13th century, and then sagas from the 13th century, because the 13th century is probably pretty big. These 2 words probably are going to be in there. However, I would start with sagas. Then basically what you do is you finger scan, snapshot, or bear claw, whatever you want to do. Now, if you come back over here, you just go back into the passage and look for those words. All right, we're looking saga. Ah, saga is right here on line 66. All right, once you find line 66, simply circle that and then Scooby-Doo it. Remember, it shouldn't be that hard to answer. A mystery question by definition is M:8 plus 2. Remember, this is super important. 8 to find, 2 to reword, equals 10. That's the difficulty of solving a mystery question. 8 plus 2 equals 10. It's going to be difficult to find. That's why we call it mystery. Once you find the right area, it shouldn't be that hard. If for some reason you read this line here and you can't answer the question, you see that they repeat the word saga here, so maybe this is the correct area. All right, word selection, kids. Also, if you look up here, you see that we have the word 13th century, and that might be harder to find because that is broken into two. They love to hide stuff on the sides, also the top and the bottom, so be aware of that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next question. It's practice problem number 16, kids. Problem number 16 here, it says, the passage mentions all the following factors that contribute to the unique status of women in Iceland, except. Okay, so first of all, it is a radioactive problem again, and this radioactive problem is going to be one of those questions that we're going to use the answer plug. So, first thing that we do is we underline all the nouns that potentially be in here. Unique status, women, and Iceland. Think about the funnel. Throw those words, all three of them, into the funnel and see which one falls down to the bottom. You see that the whole passage is about Iceland. So that would be at the top. Unique status, I feel like that's kind of a weird word, but unique status, I don't think that the actual word unique status would be in the passage. I feel like, you know, something describing unique status. For me, I feel like this might be referring more towards the verb. Over here, women is definitely a noun. So for me, that's the word that I would select. All right, so we're looking for the word woman when we finger scan. Now, also, if you go over here and you simply just go to your question answer choices here, and then it says parliament. So we're looking for women and the word parliament around that. And it says rights, legal rights. Over here, it says participate in politics. And then it says president. Okay, parliament, noun, rights, noun, politics, noun. See the consistency, kids? President, noun. We know that we're looking for those four words plus the word woman, which is a noun. Then basically what you do is you go into the passage, finger scan, snapshot, however you do it, bear claw, and get to the right area and start crossing stuff out. That's how you answer that problem, problem number 16. And finally, the last demonstration problem here is practice problem number 18, kids. Let's go ahead and get there and take a look at what we would do. Here it is. The passage states that one unusual aspect about Iceland's language is its what? First thing I do, I come over here after I read it. I know that's a mystery question because they're asking me about something specific. I underline all the nouns. Unusual aspect, Icelandic, and language. All right? For me, I feel like this refers to something more like the verb. So this isn't an actual word that we would finger scan for. You see how that's pretty much the same as what we saw over in the last question? Then Iceland, that feels like something super broad in our funnel. That would be at the top. So the word I would select, based upon the technique here, is the word language. Language, what kind of word is that? Noun, boom. Then what we do is we simply go ahead and finger scan to find the correct area and answer that. Left to right, right to left, or Jimmy Bear Claw, just take your fingers and simply scratch in the vertical, or get your eyes moving in a random way for the word language. Boom, 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 and look there, kids. You see the consistencies here? It's hidden on the side. Language right there. They love to hide our keywords on the sides of either column or in the top or the bottom. Your center of vision for the paragraph, the easiest place to find the words would be in the middle. So a mystery question by definition is tough to find. That means they're going to hide it in a place that your eyes can't see. On the sides, probably the most common. Let's take a look at the answers first for the problems that were assigned. Problem number 21, the correct answer here is C as in cat. 22, the correct answer is J. Problem number 23, as we scroll on down. 23, the correct answer is also C. Problem number 24, the correct answer is F. We scroll down a little further to take a look at the last two questions. Practice problem number 26. The correct answer here is answer choice H. And the last one, problem number 30, the correct answer here is G. Let's double on back and take a look and see what we did to get the right answer. This is a fairly difficult passage here, somewhat time consuming, but let's go ahead and see if we can figure this stuff out. All right, practice problem number 21. The first thing that I did over here, when I read this problem here, I saw that we're asked about the main reason. So I kind of started off at the top just to look at my Genius map and see kind of like what's going on. So of course, when you look at your Genius map, you always look at the first paragraph. Since I published this novel about friendship and women during World War II, and then it says as a baby boomer, okay, so she was born in 1947 as a baby boomer, and if you know anything about world history here, you see that world history was from the 30s. So this woman who wrote this essay was not even born during that time period, all right? So that's the first thing that I kind of noticed. And what I did is I'm a huge fan, as you know, of focusing in on nouns and verbs. So I came in answer choice A. A says we're trying to advertise something, all right? B says we're trying to show historical novels can be more important or more interesting than adventure. Okay, so I feel like this word adventure and advertise, both of these words are off topic. So I got those two answer choices out of there. Then in the rest of the two answer choices here, what I did is I came over here and it says problems you might encounter writing historical fiction. I circled that. Okay, and then it says show World War II an impact on people. See how I'm just kind of reducing the essay down to really just two words. Two choices are going to be like super, super off topic. And then from there, you just look at your paragraph topic sentences. Are we talking about impact on people, or are we talking about historical fiction and writing? Well, let's just simply go back up and look at our topic sentences. So I published a novel. I'm a baby boomer. There's 4 characters in the novel I wrote. Through their lives, I traced the impact on women's feelings. The war deeply affected. When writing in the 30s, the novelist, all right, you see how this isn't so much about the impact of people, it's more about writing. See how that is an answer choice. That word pops off the page a little bit more. So the correct answer, once again, is going to be C. Kids, see what I do here? I reduce the answer choices really down to 1 or 2 words, and then it's so much easier for me to try and find words that are Scooby-Dooed off of the topic sentences in there. And then you're just easily trying to, instead of Scooby-Dooing a whole sentence into a whole sentence, you're doing a word into a word. Makes a little bit more sense. Let's take a look at the next one, problem number 22. As it reads, it's reasonable to infer that the passage that the novels the author wrote before All Good Women were what? All right. So first thing that I did over here is I remember from the last question that the lady said she was a baby boomer. All right. So that means that she was not alive to write about wartime stories. All right. So I'm kind of thinking about that. So second thing that I did is I looked for that word novel, because I underline all the keywords it potentially could be. All Good Women, that's what the whole essay is about, and novels. When you think about the funnel, you underline all your keywords, 1, 2. Then you take these words, you simply throw them into the top of the funnel and see which one falls down to the very bottom that's going to be the most specific. The most specific word at the bottom of the funnel is going to be where that one word only appears 1 time. All right, so All Good Women, you see that that's here's All Good Women, and then it says All Good Women again. This is all over the place. You just want to find that one area where we find where it says novel. When we do that, you can see that the word novel comes from up here. It says novelist on line 64. That's how we derive the correct answer for number 22 as being J. Then we go ahead and scroll on down, and basically once you find that area here, you just read this, Scooby-Doo that into the answer choice. All right, moving on to the next question. The next question over here is practice problem number 23. Based on the passage, the plot of All Good Women is best described as being for women what? All right, so first thing that I did here, you know it's mystery. You see that All Good Women, that's going to be the noun, that's the title of the book, and then we see for women. All right, that also is a noun. We think of the funnel, we take the words, we throw those words into the funnel, see which one falls down to the very bottom. That's going to be the most specific word that's only going to appear in one specific area. That word for women. When I did that, I found the keyword on line 15, and then I simply just read that and tried to Scooby-Doo that into the answer choice. For characters and for women, the characters are Scooby-Dooed for women. That's how I derived the correct answer for 23, which is C, as in cat. Let's take a look at problem number 24. Number 24 reads, the author suggests that in her novel, one way which she was able to explore larger issues related to World War II was to do what? So a couple things. First things first, mystery question, we're going to go ahead and underline all our keywords. They would even though that's a noun, they would never, the author would never refer to the author as the author. Okay, novel, that's a noun. And World War II, that is a noun as well. We already know that from previous question we found novel already on that one paragraph, and then if you look for war, I found the word war on line 18 and line 22. So there's three ways that you could kind of do this one. So here is the word war. Where are you? Hello, war is right here. And also here's where I found novel. So you can find those words there, and then you just simply just go ahead and try and Scooby-Doo that into the answer choices. All right, moving right along, we'll take a look at practice problem number 26. What do we do for 26? In problem number 26, this question reads, based on the passage, which of the following statements would the author most likely make in regards to the difference between writing science fiction and writing historical fiction? First thing that I did is I acknowledged right away that it's a mystery question. I came in here, I underlined all the potential nouns, science fiction and historical fiction. I simply made an imaginary funnel in my head, brought at the top, narrow at the bottom. I took these two words, threw them into the funnel, and I looked for the word that fell to the bottom that was going to be the most specific, that's going to have that word only appear in one area of the passage. I know that the whole passage is about a woman writing a novel dealing with historical fiction. So the word science fiction, or in particular the word science, is the word that is going to be the one that's most specific. When I found that by finger scanning on line 48, I found it right down over here. I simply found that word, and here it is right here, kids, you see it? Circled it, and then I Scooby-Dooed it into the answer choice, which gave me 26H. On to the final question, kids. It's practice problem number 30. Practice problem number 30, the question reads, according to the passage, in writing her novel, the author felt an obligation to do what? So first of all, I went ahead, I acknowledged the fact that this was indeed a mystery question. Then I came over here, I underlined the nouns. Novel, again, that's something that's reappeared over and over and over again. And then also now we see that we have the word obligation. All right, we drew a funnel, took our words here, both of these, threw them into the funnel, and saw which one of those particular words falls to the very bottom. That's going to only lead us to one particular place in the essay. So I know that the whole passage is about a woman writing a novel, right? So for me, I chose this. By the way, novel and obligation, those are nouns and verbs. I went for the word obligation. In this particular case, when I found the word obligation, I found it on line 89, and it was just a teeny bit different, not much different. It just said obliged. When I found that word there, the answer popped into my lap, and I was able to derive the correct answer of G for practice problem number 30. Now, we will do one last thing here before we finish off with this video here. Something to keep in mind, kids, is this. So we have G for the correct answer here for 30. All right, something to keep in mind, and I want you to ingrain this into your brain. This is a secret formula, M dot dot 8 plus 2 equals 10. Now, kids, you have to make sure you absolutely understand this because it doesn't get any easier. This is probably one of the biggest hacks in the reading. If you talk to anyone else that teaches reading comprehension for ACT, they have no absolute idea what they're talking about. Look, mystery question is 8 plus 2. Well, we know that the components of answering a mystery question are we have to locate the keyword that we just did, bear claw, finger scan, or snapshot. Once we find the right area, we are going to have to Scooby-Doo reword that. So when we locate the right area and we reword that into the correct answer choice, we are going to get the right answer. Locate plus reword equals the answer. All right, so the definition of a mystery question is the key word that we're trying to find is hard to find. Why? Because maybe there's a bunch of words that we have to weed through to find the right word. Once we pick the right word, we have to find it in the right area. Sometimes they repeat the word in more than one place. See why that makes the location part of this difficult. 8. It's a value of 8. Once we get to the right area, kids, the rewording part from the right area should be pretty easy. That will lead us to the correct answer. So in other words, what does this formula really mean? This formula, kids, think it, understand it, live by it. A mystery question is tough to locate the right area. Why? Because maybe there's multiple words that we need to weed through to find the right word, and then we have to find the right area, and maybe they repeat that right word more than once in the passage. Once you get to the correct area, we should see that it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy for you to Scooby-Doo. That means this in a nutshell. Scooby-Doo mystery questions are tough to locate the key word in the right area, but once we find the right area, it's going to be pretty easy for you to reword. Another way of looking at this is this. If you're having trouble rewording the area that you found into the answer choices, chances are pretty high that you are in the wrong area. So A, you didn't pick the right word, you picked no word, or they repeat that same word a little bit further down in the different area. Rusty nail, rusty nail. Here, the second rusty nail will lead you to an easy Scooby-Doo. Kids, keyword selection for mystery questions in reading comprehension section for ACT. Hack it! Thanks for watching. Bye for now.